Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Welcome, everyone, to another Living the Mystical Life Daily webcast. Today, we are going to go back into the heart meditation. From the very first videos I put out on Living the Mystical Life Daily was the teaching of the advanced heart meditation. Today, we are going to expand that even more. So for those of you that are familiar with that, refamiliarize yourself with what that heart meditation was, the opportunity that it presented to be the fetus within your heart, a visionary guide. Let your heart be your guide through this internal opportunity to connect to the infinite being that you are. Each and every day we wake up, we go through life with a promise to ourselves that we will do our best and our grandest at this individual moment in time. Each night we go to sleep, we position ourselves into the grounded sleep that has our heartbeat. That heartbeat is what we have been hearing since the dawn of our consciousness when we were a fetus in that womb. When one becomes a grounded expert within the understanding of this symbology of the fetus in the womb, you get to find a new area of success within your own inner discernment, learning that you have challenges of consciousness, and you'll be faced with becoming who you are. You'll learn about your programs of self-defeat. For when we go back to that fetus, we are unencumbered unless we bring it with us. The fetus in the mother's womb teaching is how to connect to that original dream stream that is you. When one practices the advanced heart meditation as a process to go to sleep on a regular basis, you advance your ability to dream. For before you had arms and legs, a head and a brain, a spinal column, you were just a tiny little heart. Just a tiny little heart. Beat, 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 beat. In communion with your mother's heart. That created the first drum beat that we have each heard, the first rhythm. And when we come out of the womb, the new rhythm that we hear is the rhythm of this world, the heartbeat of the Earth Mother. For we are in the womb of the Earth Mother right now, graduating our ability to understand consciousness in no time, and our ability to make our own alchemy of creation in the moment. When one is manifesting the will of this vision in the fetus in the mother's womb, their purpose, their goal is the infinite point of view, to discover the layers of limitation and self-deception and perception-deception filters we've created within ourselves that stops us from seeing the unlimited point of view. Truly process what an unlimited point of view is. Within an unlimited point of view, all points of view are valid, one no greater than the other. One has no objections that cancel out the other. It is a recipe for advancing consciousness so that no time and time have a clear separation of densities. That sacred space and polluted space have an absolute separation of densities. That doubt is turned into knowingness. And the flow of information is transmuted into internal discernment. That is a recipe, an equation to understand the unlimited point of view that has roots in your willpower and your ability to find success in whatever challenges you. It is your journey to understand the opportunity of self-creation with the vision of the fetus in the womb. It is the fundamentals of living the mystical life daily, that we can return to our original dream stream of light as the I am dreaming being now, in communion and union, in equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order, non-separation, non-duality, dreaming, standing light-bodied DNA nation of one, defined with your own sovereignty through your alchemy of creation, through your ability to visualize and empower what that connection means to you, how the flow of information transmutes into discernment, how sacred space and polluted space are now separated over and over again. The power of the heart is an unlimited point of view. So everyone just relax for a moment. So for those of you who have not heard the original heart meditation, what you're going to be hearing today is the original heart meditation, but it'll have extra layers added to it. And part of those extra layers, we'll be learning about spiritual pheromones, psychic senses. I want to remind you, this is a meditation teaching. It is by design meant to put you in a meditative state with the teaching words, in which you are going to go at another time and get the transcripts from this and speak it out in your own voice. So you will be the meditative being in the flow and transmutation of discernment from your own point of view. Each of these teachings have been designed at the sacred neutral point of view to allow you have an inner, infinite point of view of your heart, your synaptic nerve endings, how each aspect of the cellular system is interconnected to the heart, which is the alchemy of creation, of the conscious entangled being who's manifesting their light through DNA code. And this code has created a body. This code is light in different formats of our mind, heart, and spirit. Through the meditation of the heart, through the fetus in the heart, we get to go and understand the encoded light. Encoded light. You are here in the actions of the now. And in the actions of the now, everyone gets the opportunity to flow with information that transmutes into discernment, which advances into your knowingness of how to create your own sacred space, how to initiate your inner ceremonial self that can radiate the pureness of energy that is needed to have your sacred space with a sacred space internal moment when doubt is removed and there is no frequency of time limiting your creation. So many healers have come to me over the years and have wanted to learn these techniques, business professionals, spiritual teachers, sports personalities, and each and one of them have come to their own determination of what it took to maintain the validation of experience of the mystical through the teachings of the heart. Some of these teachings are age-olds, through generations, through the Akashic records. And other aspects of these are signature frequency teachings of the moment of the now. For we are a uniquely different species than we were 30 years ago to 1,000 years ago. Our DNA is the frequency of encoded light that we're using now as we are transversing the galactic central plane and crossing over into more denser aspect of the galaxy. More light will be encoded with us. More stuff will be here for us to create and co-create with. Thus, why the unlimited point of view is one of the things that all people should strive for in their own personal journey and exploration. All right, everyone, just relax. Come into being. Turn off your cell phone. Put yourself into the transmutation of inner discernment. Advanced meditation to clear the heart. This will require a few layers of personal imagery. The challenge here is how to allow the imagery to create as the voice, and the imagery of the voice to create within yourself. The heart is a resonance process, and what I am assisting here is the resonance process. This meditation and teaching is in one by design to give that energy, that frequency, that knowingness, that wisdom. So here is a set of imageries you can create within your own mind that will assist you at the advanced levels of clearing the heart. Breathe and relax. Come into oneness, whatever that means to you. Come into unity, whatever that means to you. Allow distraction to fall away. Allow your knowingness to expand. Allow your life force to be at its highest potential, for we are about to go on a journey of the heart and its understanding of perspectives and how perspectives create misunderstandings. Now, what I'd like for you to do, summon the image, a medical image of what a heart looks like, as if you were to see the heart in an open chest that does not cause fear in you. Allow yourself to see this image of the heart muscle, its valve, the aorta, the veins, the muscles. That is the physical representation of what started you as a little microbeing when a sperm and an egg met. And the first sets of cells were created and made the heart. This is your first step into knowingness. Transmute this wisdom into knowingness and discernment. This heart muscle has grown to this stage that you are today, and it is a part of every experience you have ever been, and ever experience you will have ever been in the past and in the future. Give this heart muscle love. This is the very essence of self-love. Bring energy to this heart muscle that's inside you. Bring rainbows, butterflies, transmuted wisdom of knowingness, life story, experience, joy, happiness, and all those things that make this life great. This heart muscle is your interacting point of consciousness. It is the moving frequency of time. Allow this heart muscle to have your brain's wisdom, intellect, and connection to your sympathetic and parasympathetic. Allow this heart muscle neural access to all aspects of the physical body that may have been disconnected through trauma or spirit energy. Allow this heart muscle to come into union with the spinal column. Order all of the fascia around the heart muscle. This white stringy substance in the images of your mind restricting the heart. Allow the connective tissues around the spinal column connecting to the heart to relax, relieving the intense pressure we have created through our own life. Oftentimes, we take damage to the heart from loved ones that have caused us trauma or pain. It goes to the fluid energy inside your pericardium. The pericardium is a fluid of energy, a fluid sac around the heart, See this sac of fluid around the heart. Send energy to the very fluid that is the center of this pericardium. Understand every cell and atom that's within this fluid sac needs to be revitalized in joy and refilled with passion, repaired, renewed, and recycled. For there is where we hold some of our most ancient pains of this lifetime in other lifetimes too. Go directly to the valves that create the actual pumping action. See them inside. See inside them your blood, your very essence flow. Focus your intellect upon this heart muscle surrounded by a pericardium. Allow your intellect to understand how this pumping of blood, this spiritual machine that started your birth as the most vital organ in your body, it must have complete and total access to the being that you are on all levels of awareness, in full protection with the I Am Self. There can be no longer any form of dislocation, mislocation, non-access. The heart is where we began. It is not a point to be misused. See an image of your left brain and your right brain settle over the heart. So your left brain is over the left aorta, the right brain's over the right aorta. See your blood flow through this image in communion and union. Allow the image of the fetus in the womb to come into this image of the heart and the brain unified. For in the very beginning of your life, when you were just a heart, there was a tiny sliver of the brain on the heart before the spinal column was formed. This is your high heart. This is where we learn to encode light and create a hologram of reality. When we come out of the fetus and we are in the world, this is what we're creating. Allow this golden energy into your heart, surrounded by a pericardium. All of that fluid, see your heart pumping with higher rates of light. See how the pericardium fluid assists the muscles pumping, how it creates frequencies of electromagnetic interaction between the blood through the heart and the ancient waters of your heart's pericardium. This is the pureness of alchemy of creation. Here is where we must make conscious application of the sacred as the heart muscle in alignment with this meditation, so that the heart expands in its green and red loving energy into the pericardium and cleans it like a power washing system, like a car going through the car wash, a thunderstorm coming through your heart. Allow this deep into you, this cleansed feeling of internal protective armor, of your own programmed waters around your heart. Know you must empower this with your own personal imageries of the moment of the now. The pericardium is now is the filter, so time is not as damaging to the heart. We have all heard the saying, time heals all wounds. We crave more time. And the pericardium is now the filter that allows the heart more frequency when the mind experiences no time. So the heart and mind are no longer disconnected by the resonant frequency of Roman numeral time. Empower and imprint this into your pericardium. My pericardium and all of its waters are now linked to galactic, universal, and central nervous system time. Now it is your duty to regularly clear your pericardium and heart. This is known as continuous upkeep of your spiritual beliefs and processes. Your central nervous system is the co-creating and interconnected with every beat of the heart, within every action of cell, within every creation of fluid excretion that creates some form of biochemical electrical reaction. The heart is completely a part of it. You must now bring your awareness in that heart muscle, connected to its pure pericardium. Bring your mind, your intellect, and your ego, your sympathetic and parasympathetic, your vagus nerve, phalangic nerves. Those are all the connections to the central nervous system that you need to express your alchemy of will. Bring them into sacred neutral witness in your personal spiritual court of equity. In this court, all versions of programs are here in equal co-creation. From the heart muscle that began at birth, declare that frequency inside your heart. Illuminate all aspects with internal glowing energy to your central nervous system. Illuminate all aspects of your central nervous system, every synaptic ending. They're like tree branches in trees going off in every direction, with roots that go in every other direction. Bring a golden frequency of light to the root and branching system of the central nervous system. Allow your mind that's within your heart to co-create this golden light flowing into all aspects of your body, mind, and soul. Challenge your sympathetic to let down. Challenge your intellect to have the imagery and personal discipline to co-create with your original light source code. You are the cipher of this light. Challenge your sympathetic to allow your body this internal mystical experience of connection. Challenge your parasympathetic to let you, to allow a mystical experience to happen in the now. Through the electrical conductivity of the heart and pericardium, connected to all aspects of your central nervous system, is a pulsating golden light connected to the universal central sun. For we are one in the law of one. In this moment of full light from the heart, we must understand walking forward means we must have to understand the very blood in our body. That is the heart pump, that the heart is pumping at all times. We must go into our marrow of our bones. Summon the image of your skeletal system. Wherever there is a hollowness in a bone, there is marrow that is producing blood cells, that is connected to a system that brings blood to the entire body. This is your central focus. All of those hollow points within the bones, all of the veins and arteries with blood in them. Your femur is one of the biggest areas that has marrow. Your ribs, your arms, all of this is constantly creating blood about every 56 days. Here is where you take command of the heart that is fully connected to all fluid and interactive systems through the central nervous system access nodes to the blood, to the marrow. We go into the marrow and create this golden light of connection and interconnectedness. Every aspect of it is saturated. Every aspect of the marrow that is within my bones is saturated. All the blood within my veins, in my system, is now cleansed with this golden light. All aspects in the blood that are bringing about a dissolution of heart, mind, or soul are now converted with this golden light into creation, inspiration, and dreams. The heart is a transformation, transmutation vessel of life force. Anything in its blood can be transmuted, and at will, when connected with the I am for the higher purpose of clearing and understanding our reality. Take this knowledge deep into your mind as transmuted, discerned knowingness connected to the heartbeat that's in you now. With this moment, you now have cleared all the blood within your veins and artery of our charge and polarity. You'll have to regularly go back and look at your blood and understand we take on energy from others into our blood, some at the surface of our auras, and others deep into our blood or marrow. These are programs that we have taken from others. We have allowed their potency of their energy through our field and into our core creativeness. We must actively clear that blood, much like filling a room with the smoke of powerful clearing sage. The next process here in your visualization discipline is the true depths of your marrow. This is where you must put in the next imprint of what it is that you want out of life. If you want to begin to seek the mystical and the sacred, then you begin to imprint into the very marrow that will be creating blood for the next 56 days. This is what you say to your blood, to your marrow. I want inspiration, mystical experience that I'm able to process and understand and not be afraid of. I want mystical contact with my guides, my angels, my guardians that I can return with full understanding or enough understanding to create a future in which I go forth with my divine source power now. These are the types of imprints that you want to bring to yourself. You want mystical experience with your guides, your angels, your guardians. You want inspiration that you're able to process and understand and not be afraid of. Process that. Transmute that into inner discerned knowingness that within you are in the seat of your heart, with the fetus in the womb, the pericardium cleaned, the blood purified, and the marrow in awareness, with the greater consciousness of self, planning your future. These are the types of imprints you want to bring. Allow your mind a minute here to create one for yourself. For each time you go into the marrow, you always want to double down your creation. Put more upon it, because this is your ability to co-create as a multidimensional being, to channel your personal agenda from the very marrow that produces the blood within you. For the blood that is to be produced for the next 3 days, you are under special energies. You are bringing the highest form of heart co-creation and spirit into my being, so I may see higher frequencies, so I may shed off inner traumas and transmute any heart damage into joy and happiness, so I may summon more strength to make more of my soul present. It is my divine co-creative right to speak that to my blood. Transmute that into inner discerned knowingness. The next layer is your heart chakra, the actual energy system that creates the photonic light intersection of soul stream and manifest body of the now. It is a spiraling green frequency, front to back of your chest. I want you to bring the image of your own face and overlay it of where your heart is. See your own image of your own face, of this being now. Whatever is in resistance is ego in the mind. Allow this imprint of yourself into the pericardium. That is the you of the now, the I am being here. This is your residual image. This is the residual image of this lifetime from your heart at birth that grew into your face today. This is the being that created in the I am presence and has been there since the dawn of your awareness. You must reconnect to that being in the heart. You must clear out the medulla that chooses adrenaline before heart-based action. Actively disconnect the medulla from direct adrenal gland action on any emotional response that is not directly related with heart space action. The heart will always know when to act or react, for it has learned very much over this lifetime how this reality works. Program the heart to make messages to the central nervous systems. I shall not have flinch response ready for some sound in the corner. I turn off all systems of paranoia and allow myself, this being that was born into this technology, who's gone through the birth and the great forgetting of the fetus in the canal, and the great remembering of who I am, I bring forth this being into the moment of the now. I disempower the sympathetic and parasympathetic from creating any new programs and delete any other programs that disconnect this I am from my central nervous system, from my ability to co-create with my blood, my bone marrow, and my chakra system. I remove all external sources that are not divinely protected and guided to my greater creation. Allow that imagery of your mind and your face and the heart interconnected through the central nervous system, interconnected and co-creating with the very blood that is you. See your face in every cellular structure wall of your body. Of the 57 trillion cells that make up you, they are all the hologram of you. Take this imagery to the next level of internal sacred co-creative discipline, and you will have your mystical moment every moment you choose. What is a moment? A moment is when the left brain and the right brain go, hey, we are not separate. When there is non-separate moments happen, we experienced the mystical. And that is what we want to entrain our hearts and brains to work with. Why? Because the heart is what started life before you had arms and legs, before you had a stomach and a brain. You're just that heart. See your brain in your heart with much more empowerment now. Allow the heart to create a cleansing, clearing process to the brain. Bring your inner willpower to your heart and your face in your heart and say to the brain, release stress, release fear. Come back to the heart, to the sliver of brain that is on the heart, for where you started brain, where the separation of densities began so that we could go through the forgetting of who we were as infinite beings down to this finite linear time. The pericardium is clear, allowing more no time in. Empower the brain with the waters of the heart, the purpose of the heart. Imagine your brain layered within the heart, pumping and pumping and pumping. And with each pump, the brain goes back into the heart. Left brain, left ventricle. Right brain, right ventricle. Each pumping action, sending more of the golden energy through every aspect of your gray matter in your head at this moment. Triggering spiritual alchemy, opening up your crown chakra with this golden flow of solar energy that fills your central nervous system with the great creative force of interconnectedness. Here, in this interconnected, fully heart-expressed I am moment, is where we get to understand our spiritual pheromones, that which sets up the basic attraction and repelling within us. Here is where we clear the entire pheromone system. Pheromones are what attract and repel people. Here is where you put your personal imagery and words to bringing a companion or co-creator with you. For those that are looking for their twin flame, it is within this higher frequency of deep clearing of the meditation of the heart and the pericardium and the blood and the marrow that we come to this great moment where we have power to create with the future. See your heart with the ability to scan every piece of blood that's flowing through you. About every 45 seconds, all of your blood is passed through your heart. See it within yourself. Make this a duty and discipline, responsibility to self to find greater ways to embolden and empower and enlighten your blood cells through your own awareness. Here are some examples. For every blood cell that flows through my beating heart, I open my sovereign spiritual self directly connected to earth and the dreaming minds. My blood is no longer used as karmic resolution. My blood is no longer used to create violence in any format. My blood is no longer used as any form of fuel for any other being other than myself. That is in equal co-creation. Each and every blood cell has a golden tube of protection around it, preventing any vampiristic entity or remote viewing of my individual blood cells in motion. With every breath I take, I make sacred all of the oxygen that is going through my blood. I fortify all aspects of my blood with this pure pranic energy, flowing through this teaching and meditation within my own transmuted, discerned self, so that you can have the fullness of inner blood control flowing through your auric frequency known as chi. Fortify those images. It will be your duty when you are not in this frequency to create more, to discover the next level of poetic words that begin to take the higher frequency you. To trigger your placebo. What is your placebo belief? What is placebo belief, real or fake? That will be your spiritual decision when you create imprints. This is where intent goes a long way, but sacred intent goes a much further way. When you make sacred the next form of blood teachings you are producing, you can create radical alterations in the forms of abundance around your life with the responsibility of dealing with that energy. So for those of you that truly want to fortify themselves and are ready to take the next level of the journey, here's your technique. Visualize every single bone in your body and skeleton. You are looking at me and me looking at you. See your own body in reflection right in front of you. Imagine the skull, the orbits, the jaw, the teeth, the neck, the skeletal systems alone. Remove the flesh. The flesh is just another form of light. Do not create fear here. The bone is just light also. Inside the bone marrow itself is the highest connection to your soul. This is the nipple that the soul gets into you. The parasympathetic and sympathetic have no access to the marrow. This is where you massage it with your voice so that more milk of the higher spirit, purest, becomes part of your highest blood, which comes into your marrow as chi, so that the marrow itself can reach into the intestinal tract, the blood system, so that it can create brand new blood cells that will have brand new spiritual purposes added to them. It will still do all of their other functions seamlessly and flawlessly. This new function of all blood cells that is coming into your existence now is so that you may let go of fraud time, Roman numeral time. All of those cells in with you in your body right now are now fortified with the ability to let go of fraud time. Some of these things are easy. How long will it take for you to fortify your future blood? It will be your sacred discipline, your manifesting of your own will to create inner truth and discernment. So for those of you ready to take up the spiritual challenge of the next 56 days, how many times will you create a direct guided meditation into the marrow for specific purposes of creating new purposes for your blood cells so that your signature frequency of I am being, the residual image in your heart, the fetus in the womb, the I am presence who's grown through all this life, taking sovereign control from the systems that started with, so you can experience more of the mystical in the moments of the now. It's your choice at hand. Here is where you can remove the hermit in you. Let go of claustrophobia. For those of you that know of your greatest limitations, this is where you put in your blood the removal of those phobias, fears, jealousies, angers, shames, blames, and guilt. You print upon your future blood a healing so strong that parasympathetic will wither back into its natural 0-point function, which is to help you understand why you may have to choose fight or flight before love. That is why we've disconnected the medulla, so that you may choose love at every moment first before your body goes into adrenal gland fight or flight mode. You must find a sacred neutral way to nurture your blood, to nurture your core within your bones. The teaching of the 7 future generations means that you have some form of understanding of the past and the future. Imprinting the connection to the 7 previous generations and the 7 future generations as a state of inner knowingness and expanded awareness that does not overwhelm or harm you. Access to your inner healer selves. Empower that future. See that future. Create that future. For within this meditation, teaching in one, is your opportunity to learn, create, co-create, connect to your divine self, your inner code of creative being. See you in the dream time. Wow, that was powerful. All right, so we're going to go to some questions now. From Winna, how do we live in a more internal, mystical life, externally in a society? Hold on, my document's not big. can't see the doc. So Winna wants to know, how do we live more in an internal mystical life when in an external society that is crappy out there? That is the whole point of the heart meditation, is to turn off the external, become more immune to time. Think of it as when you're cleaning the pericardium of the heart, you are vaccinating in a very positive way the waters that are around your heart, so you have a more intense and colorful experience that does not draw in the negative. It is the culture that is creating the dysresonant frequency that disconnects people from the heart. And when we allow culture to stay out of our meditative process, when we allow dogmas and ideological beliefs to no longer have a parasympathetic or sympathetic voice, we are just our true selves, nurturing our blood, nurturing our heart, creating guided imagery that has the co-creative interconnectedness into the central nervous system with the common theme of bringing the golden connection of light energy. Culture means nothing to that point of view. And that is how we will change culture, through our inner selves. It is where you will fortify your blood so that the crappy external society has no power in your blood. So now I've got a next one from Trayvon. What if you're anemic? Now this is a good question. So anemia comes in a variety of forms. Sometimes the blood cells are misshapen, so on and so forth. Or they're unable to retain certain levels. This is where it is in the marrow that there's a dislocation of presence from some form of anemia. And this is where there's more than likely some form of dreaming presence, whether it's self-created or externally created, doesn't matter. There's a dreaming presence that is disconnecting your I am from its ability to produce blood that's keeping its I am fully there. So this is where, for Trayvon and anyone else that has anemia or wants to empower this, so when you're in the point of connecting into your marrow, is where you want to bring in your full I am dream stream into every aspect of the marrow. So see your skeletal system that's got the hollow energies, and you want to make the internal parts of the skeletal system purple and gold at the same time. The gold energy is to clear out anything external or internally created that are creating a dislocation of blood or anemia. You want to return blood to its 0 point frequency and then add on those imprints of connection to your guides, guardians, with the purple and the gold energy simultaneously interwoven within you. Now, this is a longer technique that takes a build-up so that when you are in the blood, your fullness is there. You've cleaned the pericardium, you brought the residual image in, and you've got all of that present. When you're working on anemia and other blood-borne diseases, the point where you're able to see through your heart all of the blood that is going through you is where you can reprogram the existing blood so that it's not anemic, and then go into the marrow and double down on it so that it is producing blood that is just like you've just created. And then discover what is creating the anemia. Is it DNA-based? For within every cellular structure is DNA, and you can allow your wisdom of your I am presence in residual image of yourself as the fetus in your womb to observe the DNA that is spinning through the veins of your arteries and marrow and blood, and look, is there a dislocation, a mislocation, or a misunderstanding of what healthy living is through the blood? And pull out anything that doesn't feel right. Pull it out, get rid of it. For it is something you have taken from another being and some other frequency of time when you did not have full protection of the pericardium, defining your own frequency of time. All right. I can't see the full questions. It just cuts it off. All right, so the next question that I can read here is, can you please speak to the difference between false light and true light? Well, that is an inner discerning question. What is false and what is true is based off of what you believe in. The whole reason a false light can exist is because there is some expression of allowing your personal beliefs to be changed or some other external technical process creating a dislocation, mislocation, or misunderstanding. So an understanding of false light exists as a form of forced evolution. And one of the big teachings of Living the Mystical Life Daily, the online course, is understanding the difference between natural co-creative evolution and forced evolution that uses an elite system to dumb down a society to take advantage of and abuse natural laws, such as the law of one, preventing people from having their fullness and awareness that's there. So false light is a form of evolution, a forced evolution. And when we get to the base of natural co-creative evolution and we see what forced evolution is, we understand that false light was a medium to confuse what is natural co-creative evolution and what is forced evolution. It was something that was created by those elites abusing the law of one so that they could muddy the waters of what was true and what was false. In this bubble of reality we live in a placebo-based reality. What you believe in is real for you in that moment. And what a person next to you believes in them, that is what they believe is real. No one is the same. They're all individually, intrinsically different. For each being takes in light and transmutes light in its own different format. Each transmuted light, piece of light, is just a memory. You can't take your wealth to the grave. You only take your memories, in which we have a life review. And this is where false light attempts to confuse us of what is the truth of light and what isn't. What is your soul family, astral city, and what isn't? Are they going to confuse you and get you back in a body upon death? In this society that we live in now, so much has been miscreated, misunderstood, in both positive and negative, that just the word false light itself creates a potential of negativity. We must remain eternally sacred neutral to have a better understanding of what's going on in our reality. To achieve that unlimited point of view, we must allow false light to simply be a word we're not empowering in our world anymore. For in the law of focus, what you focus on is what will appear in your reality. Focus does not always mean you are a signature frequency match for that. We're always in search of different expressions and understandings, looking for what is that signature frequency meeting of the teaching of the now. False light tried to blur what those two sides were. And when you take that blur out and say words are words, knowledge is knowledge, and I understand the difference between knowledge and weaponized knowledge. I shall no longer allow myself to observe weaponized knowledge without my full I am being there, knowing that it's weaponized knowledge. Rejecting its weaponization, but understanding from the unlimited point of view, there is something to understand and understand of the implicate order of what this message is. But I shall not take on its charge, its polarity, its ideological point of view, or its expression of linear time. That is ultimately how we get rid of false light of its expression in ourself and culturally. False light is an ancient concept. For as long as man has been fearing to die, they have been fearing the false light. Until somebody figured out how to technologically create an understanding of that fear that spread like wildfire in our society today. All right. So if anybody else has questions, go ahead and put them in there. They're just having a little bit of issue right now. Oh, okay. Here we go. I have to look over here now. All right, this is a really long question. All right, so good to be able to catch your live webcast. My question is about karma. I feel as though karma's resolution is an oxymoron. Wouldn't, all right, this is too much of a statement. I need another question here. Andrew, you say that the heart always knows how to respond. I agree with this. It is my experience. However, my mind always gives my heart a hard time for not being quicker to respond. While my heart is processing, my mind feels disabled, because that is your dislocation of time. That is where the pericardium was not clear, allowing you to have fullness of yourself. And the mind, which is the agenda, I am driven being, resolving spiritual contracts, going snap, 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 make up your mind, heart. And in fact, the heart has already made up its mind, but it's the mind blocking out the heart's message. That's because adrenal gland is running, keeping you in frequency of time. So that's what that one is. All right, Andrew. Mary Lou Kelly. Hi, Andrew. If a body has titanium hips, knees, how much metal in the body could affect this blood transformational process? Is there a percentage, AG 60%? No. Most hip replacements don't take more than 16 to 19% of the total volume of your hip out. Unless the whole thing has been replaced, you still have the rest of your body producing blood. So, you know, your fingers produce, every aspect of the hollowness of your bones produces blood. So it won't worry about that. So the next one from Eric. How do you recommend to do it? Should you rewrite it in your native language? Does it make a difference? Native language always makes a difference. When one is wanting to understand how to do these processes, it is an out loud name it to claim it format, meaning by bringing it out loud with your knowingness and potential and power behind it, you are engaging the placebo, the truth of your belief system, to allow more of the mystical energy or unlimited point of view to be a transmutational process within you. So the transmutation is I've taken the energy in, and now I'm going to choose to speak it out. So transcribing it, getting the PDF, whatever your way is, there's the first one that you can get the PDF from, and then transcribe. Now, some don't want to transcribe. That is your choice. In sacred discipline of those that really want to go to it, it's not to be about transcribing, it's just listening to it and writing it down, and adding your own frequency to it. So that when you are conversely or juxtapose the person that's in meditation hearing your own voice, does it have your creativity in it too? Because you are going to be the person on the table who's going through what? Is this bullshit? Are you believing the person that's speaking? Yes, the information may have come from over here, but the medium in which I'm getting it, the medium of yourself. So if all of you are projecting what you are speaking out this energy, the fetus in the heart, the brain inside the heart, left ventricle, the clearing of the pericardium, the clearing of the blood in the marrow, and that's projected through your voice that you are recording, the person on the table should instantly entrain to that if it's true. But the person on the table will be going through a judgment and discernment process. I don't like hearing my voice. I sound like a little this or that. That is your own internal judgment process that the meditation must shut off so you can receive your own message, which is the cipher of light. You've encoded light. You've recorded light. You are now taking that light in and transmuting it into a more intense light. For you have done the sacred discipline of double transformation, double transmutation. Doubling into the heart when you were listening it to the first time, doubling it again in the body when you begin to transcribe and writing it, doubling it again when you speak it out to yourself, and then doubling all those processes when you actually choose to learn it. That's multidimensional living. That's multidimensional expression. Okay? All right, so I got a question from Sylvia. During meditation, sometimes I smoke weed. Sometimes it makes it difficult with focus and concentration. Yes. My personal point of view is there are those that need those forms of expression to assist them at meditation, though inevitably it will lead to a crutch in which you think you can only use it when there. So everything within moderation. Those of you that don't use it and go on a purist path, don't be judgmental of those that are on a different path. It is their choice, right or wrong. It does not make a difference and should not change your life. What they're doing is not weaponized. It is your perception of judgmental that makes it, oh, this is good or bad for you. There are those that are in their state of depression that the cannabis will help them meditate, help them heal, help them connect. And there will be others that it creates a completely opposite effect to. Each and every being must be allowed their own sacred process within moderation. All right, the next one is from Annette. How can having a near-death experience from losing too much blood affect the heart and the soul? That's a really good question. So a lot of times when you use a lot of blood, you have a blood transfusion, blood that comes from somebody else. Now, sometimes that blood is harvested in local blood donor drives from the American Red Cross. So it's people in everyday life, and sometimes blood is drawn from people who've had great accidents, and they harvested everything and they sent it off. So that blood does come with a expression in it, but the existing blood in the body that survived has the trauma imprinted into every aspect of it. So removing the trauma from the blood isn't key. But the original blood is no longer in the body because every 56 days, all the new blood is replenished. So it's going into the marrow that is taking the damage to create the polluted blood that has the trauma within it. But it is the mind that's still holding on to the trauma because it's dislocated and disconnected from the heart. So allowing the fetus in the womb, inside the heart, in that original dream stream correction, you gain control of the heart back into the marrow, and you can take away from these systems that makes it upside down and inside out, takes away from your ability to truly run your hologram with your spiritual pheromones intact, attracting and repelling what is supposed to be in your frequency, so that true signature frequency teachings of healing come to you in that moment. All right, so the next one from Avital Gilboa. How do you go to see yourself as the fetus in the mother's womb? Everyone's going to find that visualization process a little different. So my first process is I am the fetus in my heart. And then the next area is the womb, which is my mother's womb, which is around the fetus in my heart. And then the next layer is the fetus I was before that, and the fetus I will be in the future. So you stack up the visual imagery. We are multidimensional, multifunctional, photonic beings of light, and our bodies are just encoded light. There was an Andrew before this Andrew, the previous lifetime. That is available as the next layer on top of the fetus in my mother's womb. And then there's the fetus Andrew will be in the future. That is layered on top of that. I go 21 generations to the past, 21 generations to the future, because I chose to be aware of that and made that a regular part of my heart meditation for many, many years, until I imprinted an understanding of multidimensional discernment of what I learned in light in other lifetimes, that it did have negative and positive processes, but I made sure that it did not cross from my sympathetic and parasympathetic into this I am being now. I made conscious active choices to deal with it as the dreaming being, not allowing the body to take on the traumas of previous lifetimes. This is why past life regression is such a healing frequency for so many people, because it's in their blood, in their marrow, and they don't know where the program came from. All righty, here we go. So if anybody has any more questions, why don't you go ahead and put them in the chat room there. So I want to talk about some of the business professionals that have come to see me over the years. A large variety from CEOs of companies, entrepreneurs, people that are starting advanced businesses, and they want to know how to run a business that has clean energy in it. And one of them was a lawyer's office in which I created special energy tools. Those of you who have seen the Alchemy series will understand that these are beeswax with quite a few crystals in them, and this particular one is probably about $6,000 worth of crystals in this one, for the expressed purpose of creating an energy filter. Now, lawyers have to deal with a tremendous amount of positive and negative energy, as do doctors, as do sports professionals, anybody that has an office that has charge and polarity that's coming through this. So what I did is help them create a method of understanding of the energy that's coming in and out of their own office, in and out of their own seen and unseen world, so that they could create a system of checks and balances within their own office that did use physical imprinted tools, whether they were objects, paintings, whatever it was, so that there was a form of transmutation in that office, so that stale and stagnant energy could not be overtaken by the potent energy of somebody that's come in a law office. I might be losing all my entire life savings if this person can't help me with whatever. And that person is projecting that, polluting that area. And having objects that are energy fountains can continuously create the transmutational process in there. Okay? There are so many myths that are out there about energy. We must break those myths by allowing ourselves to have the unlimited point of view. And in the unlimited point of view, anything's possible. Quite literally, anything is possible. It's been an honor to be here with you. Thank you for your questions and comments, and make sure to live every moment a mystical one. Find those blood teachings. Get back into it, everyone. Now is the time that we get to take charge of our life.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.